Sup, it's Hallie. Welcome back to Branching Paths. When we last left off, Charlotte confronted Kai and things got a little heated. And I apologize to your viewer if I have to stop occasionally today because I'm having one of those mornings where like your nose is like running and you blow it, and then 2 seconds later it's filled with the same amount of snot it was the moment before you blew it. So yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, the sun has begun to set over St. Salvato High, and the shadows are now being cast as the nearby street lights turn on. 2 students, unnecessary comma, lay under a big old oak tree, staring up at the sky as it fully transitions to orange. You were right, Sam. The sunset really is nice over here. I wish I could see it.
I've tried to spend as much time here as I could here. The sunsets, the leaves, this place is just so peaceful. I always try to spend the end of my school day here to unwind.
Yeah, I can see why.
It helps pass the time. It helps me forget about things like school, work, chores, responsibilities, and all of life's chaos. It just feels nice to forget about it, even if it's just for a minute.
Yeah, it does. I'm glad you helped me experience this place for what it is. It's almost kind of sacred, isn't it? Michael says as he rolls over to face Sam. Sam giggles at Michael's comment.
I think sacred is a little too strong of a word. I'd say it's enchanting. I am an apostrophe here.
Michael turns his head to look back up at the sky. Yeah, you're right. But I think it's even more enchanting to be able to experience nature with someone else too.
I agree. Glad I made you happy today, Michael.
It's nothing. I'm glad we got to hang out for a bit today. Oh, sorry. Got to hang out. Sam looks back at Michael, a big smile across her face, with Michael returning one of his own. Then the smile on Sam's face disappears. Michael looks on at Sam, confused. Suddenly, Sam turns away from Michael and lets out a big cough. She lets out a few more before letting out a wheeze. Michael stares at her, utterly confused. After about a half minute, he notices Sam wipe her face with her sleeve and then turns back around.
Sorry, something was tickling my throat.
You swallowed a bug?
No, it just happens sometimes.
Sam lets out another cough, this one more violent than her previous ones. She sits herself up against the trunk of the tree, coughing uncontrollably. Sam, what's wrong? Sam merely answers Michael's question with more coughs and wheezes. She points to her bag, a pleading look in her eyes. Michael quickly runs over to Sam's bag and brings it to her. She quickly unzips one of her backpack's compartments and takes out a pill capsule. She fiddles around with it, still widely coughing, as she finally manages to pop it open and takes 2 of her pills before closing it. Do you mean like wildly coughing? I don't know. What do you mean by widely? Michael, feeling helpless, stands there as Sam continues to cough. After about a minute, her coughs and wheezing gets weaker before she takes a few good breaths and sinks back against the trunk. Are you okay? Sam lets out a low groan as she clutches her forehead.
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry I made you worry. I have coughing fits every now and then. I have to take meds for it,
She says, still somewhat out of breath. Oh, I didn't know that. Are they really that bad? Sam takes a few more deep breaths before she tries to sit herself up, but quickly sinks back.
It's nothing too serious.
I didn't know you had asthma. Don't you have an inhaler?
Well, it's not exactly asthma, but I do have an inhaler. I only use it when it gets really bad.
Really bad?
Yeah, it can get ugly sometimes. But it's nothing to be worried about.
I mean, I kind of can't help but worry about it. Like, what if you lose consciousness or start coughing up blood or something? How ugly has it gotten before? What should I do if that happens?
Michael, I'll be fine. I've never passed out from a coughing fit before. And it's been months since I've coughed up blood. If something serious were ever to happen to me, I know you'll do everything you can to get me help. I trust you.
But what if...
Michael, I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. I'm feeling better now. Can we just forget about all that and get back to enjoying the sunset?
Okay. If you don't want to talk about it, I understand.
Thank you.
The two resume staring back at the sunset in silence as Michael processes what he had just seen. I know Sam doesn't want me to worry about her, but I just can't get that sound of her coughing out of my head. I've never heard a cough like that before. And if she doesn't have asthma, what does she have that makes her cough like that? Could it be whatever she has also made her skin paler? These questions continue to swirl in my mind as we try our best to enjoy the sunset together. Alright, I can't remember if we're on like the last of these episodes or not. Apparently we are. Yep, this is the final bit of the investigator arc. Gasp. Episode 10, Framed. That's an ominous title. Man, they're trying to like center around all this drama around these people's various medical conditions, and I'm just like, I don't know, it doesn't do anything for me. The morning breeze courses through the air, ruffling up Kai's hair as he sits on the bench. He stares drearily down at the ground. He takes a long sigh before looking back up at Randy, Victor, and Bella, who are standing in front of him, nervously awaiting what he has to tell them.
I made a grave error yesterday. Charlotte knows that I leaned on Michael to dismantle the anime club, in addition to admitting some other unsavory things I've had to do over the last year or so. She recorded the entire conversation, and I didn't realize that until the end. She found a chink in my armor, and she so meticulously sunk her teeth in until I caved. Truly, she still knows me like the back of her hand, and played me. She's an expert in wearing people down. I did give her an ultimatum to delete the recording, but knowing her, she won't accept it.
That's gotta be good news, right?
The good news is that I did not incriminate any of you. But of course, if I go down, you all come with me. Your success is our success. Your failure is our failure. We work together as one.
A heavy silence falls over the group as Kai stares back down at the ground, sighing once more.
There must be a solution to this. We have to ensure that Charlotte doesn't talk.
And would she gossip about it? Assuming Rankin ignores her.
She threatened to, but gossiping would be her last resort.
Yeah, I can't remember if there's two P's in gossiping. Maybe not.
I would also say that Principal Rankin would likely follow up on her claims, given the evidence she has on me. Still, I don't think she'll report me right away.
How do you know that?
Randy says nervously.
You assured us that you were able to handle Charlotte, and now we're here. If this gets to me, I'll be off the football team.
Randy says, nervously tugging on his bow tie.
I don't want to risk that, especially with the season kicking off soon. I have a lot of riding on this.
Relax, Flash Gordon. It's not going to get you because Charlotte is not going to get the chance to share her evidence. Isn't that right, Kai?
Kai somberly nods.
I'll admit, Charlotte got the best of me. This is all on me. Whatever reason you may have to be angry with me, it'll be justified. But I refuse to accept defeat to that cunt.
Well,
There's only one solution for someone like her. She needs to be silenced.
Kai says as he chokes the last part out. Another long silence falls over the group.
How are we going to do that? Are we going to stage some sort of accident?
Of sorts. I have an idea in mind, but I'll have to talk to a special friend of mine to see if she'd be willing to help. If not, we'll have to think of something else. Victor and Bella, I want you to monitor the rumor mill. Make sure Charlotte doesn't decide to spread the evidence to the student body first. And don't aggravate her. I don't want her pulling the trigger prematurely. We can prevent her from reporting me to Rankin, but we must move quickly. I expect her to go to the office with Shiro and the goth girls until by the end of the day.
You're sure she's not going to report us earlier? What's stopping her from just going to the office as soon as she comes in?
If I'm right, Charlotte will show her evidence to Shiro. Shiro will be hesitant to go to the office since he's tried that before. I'm sure she'll then go to Alan and Phillips to either help her with or win Shiro over, or to go as extra witnesses to give her testimony more power. Charlotte doesn't like to charge head first into things. She likes to formulate a plan in the clearest state of mind possible. She's a very analytical person. The one thing I was able to do is I at least messed with her emotionally before I left our little meeting. Otherwise, she would have reported me much sooner.
Okay. Well, so long as it goes like you say.
Aside from this, when hasn't it?
Right.
Alright, Victor and Bella, you're dismissed. Text me if you learn anything new.
Victor and Bella wordlessly nod as they walk to the stairwell off the roof and out of sight.
Randy, you're gonna be with me. We're going to be paying my special friend a visit together.
All right.
Kai looks on at Randy, a look of genuine surprise on his face.
You alright? You seem anxious.
Sorry, Kai. I'll admit, I'm a little nervous. We've never been on the ropes quite like this.
Perhaps, but it's not like we haven't taken risks before.
Yeah, but I don't want to lose everything, you know? We worked so hard to get to where we are now. You helped me get on the football team. That's always been my dream. Your workout and diet plans really made the difference in me making the cut. I know that was just paying me back for helping you get some of my teammates off your back last year, but I still feel like I can never properly repay you.
You're right, you can't. But your unwavering loyalty is enough to suffice. You've been more than a capable right hand to me, Randy. Just remember, whatever happens to one of us, happens to the both of us. Our successes and failures go hand in hand. And with my brains and your bronze, we've stared defeat in the eye, time and time again, and I have always emerged victorious. This will be no different. We eviscerated whatever was left of Shiro's reputation. And today, we destroy Charlotte Webb once and for all.
As the students begin to file into the front entrance, Charlotte and Shiro are standing off to the side away from the growing line. In her hand, she has her phone, playing the recording of her conversation with Kai from the day before. She lets out a sigh and pauses it right before she has her breakdown. Don't need this, come on.
That's really all there is to it.
Jesus. I'm just glad he didn't hurt you.
He did.
What? Where?
He didn't hurt me physically, but emotionally. I didn't realize how a part of me didn't want to give up on him. But that part of me is dead now, just like the boy who I met back in the 6th grade. That was the part of me that I kept trying to hold down for so long. I tried to forget about Kai and the good times we had. After we pulled that prank off, I thought that maybe it'd be better or be enough of a shock and he'd course correct. Obviously he didn't, and he doubled down on his hatred of you and more or less moved on from me. I no longer mean anything to him. I think he just views me as this bad memory. I felt so guilty for taking that risk. I just harmed him even more and pushed him further along the path that he's on. I hated myself so much knowing I contributed to that. I just tried to forget him as much as I could, and, well, that just led to other problems. For whatever reason, I still had hope for him. Despite everything, I never realized how much I actually cared about him. Letting him go has been one of the toughest things I've ever done or had to do, and now it's finally caught up to me.
Charlotte says as she wipes away a tear that had unknowingly streaked down her face, fighting back the ever-so-tempting urge to break down. Shiro puts his hand on Charlotte's shoulder. You actually liked Kai? When?
I don't remember exactly when, but there was a time where I would have let him take me out. The feeling just creeped out from the rubble. Despite all his troubles and dark thoughts, I somehow brought out a side note there that nobody around here had ever seen. And knowing that I had that effect, knowing that I was able to do something good, well, it made me feel happy too.
I never knew that, Shiro says as his voice breaks with shame. Had I known that, I probably wouldn't have asked you to help with that.
Oh, you would have. You hated him enough. You never cared about his happiness.
Shiro withdraws his hand. It's not like he ever cared about mine. I don't know what it was about me that pissed him off so much. Maybe he couldn't stand that I was better at something, or maybe he got jealous that I was always around you, but... Shiro's voice trails off as he hopelessly meets Charlotte's stare. I don't know what I did that made him initially hate me. I thought at first he wanted some friendly competition, and it just escalated. He made it personal. He fired the first shot.
He said it was your penchant for always acting like you always knew everything.
I don't know everything, but look, I'm a smart guy. I have a right to share my knowledge. People can take it or leave it. It's their choice. I get Kai had a bad upbringing, and I'm sure that fueled his unhealthy need to outdo everyone for attention, but he had no right to take it out on me the way he did.
You're right, he didn't. But I think you fail to see how alike you two are.
Me? Like him? You're crazy.
I'm not. Just look at yourself for crying out loud. You're a smart guy, Shiro. You always have been. But for heaven's sake, you've never been the best in self-reflection. Kai always acted like he was the smartest person in the room, too. That he always knew something that we didn't. You both worried about needling other people for not knowing something, even though you admittedly did it in a slightly more graceful way. You both never backed down from something when you believed you were right. You both resorted to childish antics and dragging other people in to help you. Much like you did with Michael, and how he did it with people like Victor and Randy.
I recruited Michael to join the anime club because I thought he'd be a good fit for the club. I thought he could be my first real friend since all the crap that happened last year. I can promise you, the last thing that I ever wanted was for him to be dragged into my mess.
Well, but you never solved your mess, and inevitably he was going to get dragged in, just like Kayla and Ruby did. Their club is gone. Shiro, you need to realize that if you don't solve your problems, if they get out of control, it ensnares other people too. I'm your friend, I always will be, but you need to realize the cost this has had on us. Ignoring him in this game of attrition has never been the solution. You either need to make peace or bring him down once and for all.
Shiro sighs. I don't think he can be reasoned with. I heard that recording. You heard what he said. We're too late. We're not going to be the ones to save him, Charlotte, even if I thought he deserved redemption.
Do you think Michael deserves a second chance?
Well, what does this have to do with him?
He left your club. It upset you. You've said yourself that you wanted nothing to do with him. So were you just unwilling to forgive those who had wronged you?
Those are two completely different things. Look, if Michael came to me and apologized for leaving the club, I'd be willing to hear him out, particularly if he's able to make things right with Kayla and Ruby. Kai is a whole different matter. Kai subjected me to all kinds of abuse for years, he says as he points to his bruises on his face. I don't think I have it in me to forgive him for what he put me through, and I don't think you should be so quick to defend him. He's a monster. We might have contributed to it, and I'm sorry that I made you fuel this fire. It was wrong and irresponsible of me. I let my anger guide me then.
And it still guides you now, Shiro.
Well, how could it not?
You have every right to be angry with him, Shiro. I'm not blaming you for being angry. I'm just trying to make you see that we're just as responsible for this situation as he is. We helped make him this way.
Shiro throws up his hands in frustration before I'm sure this is supposed to say guiltedly staring at her, or at the ground, but it says guiltedly. A long, uncomfortable pause ensues. After a while, Charlotte lets out a depressing sigh.
Just promise me something. Whatever happens today with Kai, do your best to understand what we did to get him there, and see that only pushing him further may make him unreachable. Assuming he hasn't crossed that event horizon yet.
You really think he can be saved?
I don't think we're going to be the ones to save him, but maybe we can help start the process of pulling him back from the rabbit hole he's decided to go down. And to do that, we have to report this. Only someone with authority can get him on the right path now. So, we do have to destroy him. We have to stop his crusade against our fellow classmates, whether they're guilty or innocent. It's not up to Kai or anyone else to decide where their place is. The pain and damage he's done to us and so many other people, it can't continue. Otherwise, the school will become a total toxic cesspool and people's lives will be ruined. If Principal Rankin decides not to step in, then we may have to. We may have to do some unpleasant things to try to stop him. If push comes to shove, I'll do it. I'll lead the charge. I'll be the one to stop him for good.
Are you really sure you want to do that?
It's either this or we let this continue, and we both know the latter isn't tenable. As much as it'll hurt to do this, to ruin Kai's life one way or another, I have to. I do want you to come with me when I report him to Principal Rankin at the end of the day.
Why not just report him now?
I want you to see if you can bring Kayla and Ruby along. I feel like I need to give you guys some time to think all this over. I won't force you to come with me, but I think it'll make our case against him that much stronger. That way we can hopefully avoid the nuclear option.
Well, if you feel like this can work.
Lord willing, it will. I think Kai said enough incriminating things that will get him in trouble this time.
Shiro stares at the ground for a half a minute before looking back up at Charlotte. Alright, yeah, you don't need that. Hey, you can nuke that one. I'll go with you. I can't speak for Kayla and Ruby, but I'll try my best to convince them to come along.
Thank you, Shiro,
she says as she turns to walk away. However, before she can get very far, Shiro grabs her arm.